Hello, and welcome to the Teacher Chris Learn by Play Piano series. This is lesson number 9 in the series. Now, if you just happen upon this video, I have an entire playlist of lessons. If you click on my name down below and look for my playlists, there's an all ages playlist, and then if you have the YouTube Kids app, there's also a YouTube Kids playlist as well that will work with that app. Now, these are weekly piano lessons, just like you would have if you had me coming to your home. I've been teaching in Los Angeles for over 20 years now, and I'm starting to bring these lessons to YouTube. So I hope you enjoy the series. Please click the like button and also the subscribe button, and also that notification bell so that you'll be notified every Monday when I put out a new video. Okay, I'll see you in the practice room. Let's go ahead and get started with lesson number 9. This week marks a very special occasion because you are going to be playing both hands at the same time this week with 2 different songs. That's right, your right hand and your left hand are going to have 2 completely different things that they're going to be playing, and you have to play them at the very same time. So let's go ahead and turn to page 42 and check out the song Rockets. Now, Rockets is a very imaginative song. It's a song about you getting in a spaceship and rocketing to the moon. But what's special about this song is that we're going to be doing both hands at the same time. We're also going to be doing something a little bit different than what the book actually asks you to do. So the first thing I want you to do this week is put a giant X in the second line. And I'll explain why in just a little bit. So let's look through Rockets and see where that's going to happen, where both hands play at the same time. So at the very beginning here, we have melodic thirds. Now we know they're melodic thirds because, first of all, we see that they're all space notes, all 3 of them, one right after the other. It goes from one space to the next space up to the next space up. We know the first note is a C, and then, of course, the next one is an E, and then a G, every other note. Then when we go to the right hand, we can see that these are also melodic thirds because we have 3 line notes in a row. We have C going up to an E, going up to a G. So that should be pretty easy for you. Start with the left hand, play thirds, go to the right hand, play thirds. Now, when we get to the third measure, that's when both hands actually play at the same time. And we'll notice that in the right hand, we have this F right here. And then directly underneath that F, we have that harmonic second that we were doing in the rock song. Now, it's an F and a G at the same time. We can tell because it kind of looks like that plucked flower that I was talking about. The harmonic seconds really look all alike. Now, in the left hand with that harmonic second, you'll notice that those are dotted half notes. They're half notes with dots right next to them. That means you're going to hold that for 3 counts. And if you look above, we have in the right hand 3 notes. We have 3 counts in the right hand and then 3 counts in the left hand. Left hand holds for 3 counts. Right hand plays 3 individual quarter notes. So it's going to look something like this. With the right hand here, we have an F, and then an E, and then a D. And then the left hand, we have F and G at the same time. Now, if we start them at the same time, the F in the right hand is going to start while the second in the left hand starts. So we have this harmonic second and then an F. Let's try that out. Then we're going to keep going with an E and then a D. So that's 1, 2, 3 counts all together. And then when we get to the next measure here, you can see both hands have half notes. They're 2 counts each. The right hand has a C. The left hand has that snowman without the top of the snowman, without the head of the snowman, that harmonic third that we learned last week in rock song. So now we have a C here, and we have a third below. Now let's just try those 2 measures alone. So in the right hand, again, we have an F here. In the left hand, we have a second. And I'm going to play 3 notes here in the right hand. And then when I get to that C, I'm going to switch to the third in the left hand. So I'm going to say the right hand notes out loud and just let my left hand follow along. That's probably the best way to practice this too when you're practicing this. Say the right hand letters out loud and allow your left hand to just insert itself in where it's supposed to go. So here we go. F, E, D, and then C, 2, and then there's a rest there. So let's try that again. It's F, E, D, and then C, 2, rest. Okay, before you pause and practice, let's try out the whole entire line. So it starts with the left hand here on a C. We just do melodic thirds. So C, E, G. Now it switches to the right hand, C, E, G. Now we have F in a second here. F, E, D. Now C in that third, C, 2, rest. And then one more time without me saying it out loud so you can hear the notes. So go ahead and pause the video and just practice this one line right now and try out this one line. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so how hard was that? Was that pretty difficult for you? You may find that you need to take a deep breath right before you play both hands at the same time, and maybe even shrug your shoulders a little bit just to kind of give yourself a little bit of a push to do both hands at the same time. Found some of the time that helps. Now, don't do that always, but that's a good initial way to just push your hands into the right notes. Just kind of push the entire arm down and really try to line up both hands at the same time for those particular spots. Now, you may be wondering, why did we cross out the second line? What was that all about? Well, the thing is that this piece is meant to be played with the normal hand position for the first line and then moving up to another hand position, the next octave up, for the second line of the piece. But I want you to do something even more extreme than that. Instead of moving your hands up, starting from the normal C position, we're actually going to start the entire piece at the lowest C position, and we're going to continuously play through the top line until we get all the way to the highest C position that we can do. So we'll start down here, and then we'll keep working our hands up the piano, every C position, until we get all the way to the top right here. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because of the name of the song and what the song is about. So the song is, of course, about somebody getting into a spaceship and taking off and flying off into outer space. Well, I think that it actually sounds really cool to start super low on the piano and imagine yourself in a rocket ship, because the really low notes sound really grumbly, like the engine starting. And then once you get up to the really highest C position, it does sound like the rocket ship is really far away. It's kind of blinking out of existence, so you can't see it anymore because it's so far away. Let me go ahead and play the entire piece for you with all of those C positions so you can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to start down here in this C position. And here's the rockets grumbling. Then we go, Then we go to the next C position here. And the rockets are starting to push off. And it's starting to take into the air. And now we're in the air. You can see the spaceship up in the air. It's getting higher and higher. And now it's pretty high up in the sky. And it's even higher. It's almost completely gone. Can barely see it. And then finally we're at the highest point before it blinks out. And then it disappears. think it's fun to have songs like this where you're imagining an entire story that's happening. Really makes for the song to have more emotion and just a lot more fun. So go ahead and pause the video and try this out again. See if you can start at the lowest C position and work your way up to the very highest C position. And I'll see you in a minute. So how'd you do? Did you find yourself having to shift around on the piano bench? I was reaching when I should have been shifting my body just a little bit to reach up to those high notes. Thing is I'm trying to stay on camera here, so wasn't exactly the best body posture. So don't take how I was playing it to how you should be playing it. In fact, if you want to play this entire song standing up, this entire song does not have to do with posture or hand positioning all that much. It really has to do with learning the entire map of the piano, then also just having some fun. So a lot of my students, they actually stand and play the entire thing while they're standing, or they push the bench out a little bit further so that they can reach everything just properly. So go ahead and play through this one this week. Have a good time with it, and let's move on to the next one. Let's turn to page 43 and check out Sea Divers. Now on this one, I want you to do the same thing that you did with Rockets and just cross out the second line. We're going to be doing something similar to Rockets in this one. Now, if you look at the first measure here, the first measure is a group of thirds. You can see it starts with a G, goes down to the next line note, which is an E, and then down to the next line note, which is a C. But then when we get to the second measure is a little bit different. Instead of it being a group of melodic thirds, it's actually a group of melodic seconds. We start on a G, but then we go down to an F, then we go to an E. Let's just play through those two measures together. So right hand starts with G, E, and then C. And then the left hand is G, F, E. Let's do it without a pause now. So G, E, C, and then G, F, and then E. Now in the third measure, that's when both hands play at the same time, but the right hand is going to have a harmonic second and a harmonic third, while the left hand is playing just a group of seconds. So let's look at the left hand first. We have an F, E, D, and then the last note's a C. Now in the right hand, we're going to have a second here, which is C and D. And then we're going to have a C and an E. So when we combine both hands together, it'll look something like this. We have F and the C and D. And then we go to the C and E when we reach the last note in the left hand. Let me go ahead and play the entire thing all the way through so you can hear it. We have G, E, C. Now G, F, E. Now both hands, F, E, D, and then C to rest. Now, on this piece, I like to do something a little bit different than what they ask you to do here, which is to just go down one C position. Instead, I want you to start at the very top of the piano and then work your way down. Now, what I usually do in my students' books, you can do this if you want to, is I like to draw a helicopter floating up in the air right here, and then some splash marks around where the ocean is. And what I like to do is pretend that we are up in a helicopter when we're playing at the highest part of the piano. And then as we work our way down the piano, we splash into the water, and then we start to dive down to find the buried treasure. We keep going down, 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 until finally we reach the lowest notes, which kind of start to sound grumbly, just like those rockets in Rocket Ship. It kind of sounds like the rumblings of a really, really low ocean floor, where we find the treasure chest. And when we open up the treasure chest, there's a very upset looking octopus that's just trying to take a bath. So anyways, let's go ahead and try this one all the way through from the highest C position to the lowest C position. So we're going to start up really high here, and this is where we're in the helicopter jumping out. and we jump. And here we are, flying towards the ocean really fast. And we splash into the ocean. And now we're swimming down. And now we're starting to get really low. Starting to see all sorts of crazy fish. Then we get even lower. We start to see what looks like a buried treasure on the ocean floor. And then we finally get to the very bottom of the ocean floor. And we open up the treasure chest. And there's that octopus staring back at us. I think it's really cool to imagine scenarios like this when you're playing the piano, because it really adds to the fun of playing piano, creating all sorts of scenes and making the soundtrack for those scenes. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try out playing this entire thing from the top of the piano all the way to the bottom of the piano, and I'll see you in a minute. So how did this one go? This one may be a little bit more difficult because your left hand has most of the melody of this piece. It has to do a lot of stuff, especially if you are right-handed. Okay, go ahead and get out your assignment pad and let's write down the assignment for this week. This week we have page 42, Rockets, and I want you to start at the lowest C position this week and work all the way up to the very top C position, playing it very steadily. Remember that the best way to say the letters out loud is to say what the melody notes are, the melodic seconds and thirds, and not say the harmonic seconds and thirds. So just follow the melody only. And then on page 43, we have C divers. And on this one, you're going to start at the highest C position, and you're going to work your way down to the lowest C position on the piano. But on this one, remember to say the melodic seconds and thirds out loud and not the harmonic seconds and thirds. Also, if you still need to work on Rock Song and you want to get it worked up to that really fancy duet that I made last week, keep working on Rock Song. That one usually takes a couple of weeks to really get down with the duet. One, ready, play. C, E, G, C, E, G, F, E, D, C, 2, rest, C, E, G, C, E, G, F, E, D, C, 2, rest, C, E, G, C, E, G, F, E, D, C, 2, rest, C, E, G, C, E, G, F, E, D, C, 2, rest, C, E, G, C, E, G, F, E, D, C, 2, rest, C, E, G, C, E, G, F, E, D, C, 2, rest. One, ready, play. One, ready, play. G, E, C, G, F, E, F, E, D, C, 2, rest. G, E, C, G, F, E, F, E, D, C, 2, rest. G, E, C, G, F, E, F, E, D, C, 2, rest. G, E, C, G, F, E, F, E, D, C, 2, rest. G, E, C, G, F, E, F, E, D, C, 2, rest. G, E, C, G, F, E, F, E, D, C, 2, rest. One, ready, play. This concludes the lesson 9 of the Teacher Chris Learn by Play piano series. Think you did a great job today. Keep working hard for me, and I'll see you next week.